If you don't have your number in your mind, then it's not worth your time. And we know what our time is worth. And so we choose where we put our energy. And that's helped us with a lot of our success.
So you want to make an impact. You're thinking about starting a business, sharing your voice. How do women do it that handle motherhood, family, and still chase after those dreams? Well, listen each week as we dive into the stories of women who know. This is Call Me CEO. Welcome back to Call Me CEO. This is your host, Camille Walker, and here we celebrate mothers building businesses and making change in the world. And today we are going to talk about many women that work on one team that are family and affiliate marketing experts. They are the co-owners of Sassy Saves, which is a very wonderful way of sharing and saving money online. Now, these ladies are mothers of many children. I'm going to let you share their story and their details, but we met as creators at an event where we were with Getaway Today, which used Camille for savings. So I'm just kidding. But we are in the same field in that regard of sharing ways to save money. And that is such a hot topic right now. How do you become successful with affiliate marketing? It's gone from couponing now to online digital savings. It's all marionetted into one, and it's a beautiful way to make money online. So I am so thrilled to have Sandy Walton and Kathy Parsons, who are sisters and co-owners, on the show today. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. We're
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah. So where did this idea come from? I know just from reading your bios that you are hard workers, you are innovators, but I want to know first, who had the idea and how did she make everyone else like jump on board? Because working as a family together, that's a big sell.
Right. Yeah, so one of our sisters, there's 7 of us in my family. Um she is just an entrepreneur, and through our life she's just been doing a lot of things. And a lot of times she comes to us and we kind of make fun of her um because we jump on board with things, but then maybe they wouldn't pan out. And so when she was the one that had the idea to start this, she said she was scrolling and found some information about it. And so she just kind of jumped on board and started doing it. And then she reached out to us and said, "Hey, I'm doing this thing and it's working. I'm making money. You guys should do it too." But we all just kind of blew it off and said, "Yeah, right, you're making money." But then she showed us receipts. And um so it was actually me and my brother and my mom that started initially doing the same thing that she was doing. And then just slowly it just continued to grow to where almost all, of our family does this. So yeah.
Amazing. Okay, so when you're saying does this, and the
Mhm.
business is now 5 years old, did this happen in the middle of the pandemic? Did it happen before? I can't believe we're at 5 years. That's mind blowing.
I know.
But
Yeah.
what was the timeline in terms of the pandemic?
Yeah. So she started the fall of 2019. And so my mom and my brother and I, we started New yeah, it was New Year's Eve of 2019, which was crazy. I don't know why that was the day we just decided, okay, we're doing this. And then yeah, COVID came that next year in Marchish. And by then, we kind of established, actually, sorry, let me back up. COVID came, Sandy, help me when did COVID come? I just want to make sure I make it.
So we were all together by 2020. By the end of 2019 is when I came on and he brought on another sister and we were all together. And so all of 2020, we were all working together. Then by the end of 2020, we had kind of split in ways that there was a group doing it together and then there was us. So we just kind of divided it into.
Yeah. Yeah, we kind of paired off in people that worked better together. And That was yeah, that was a struggle to get to that point, but now being 5 years out, we see that that was for the best. Um, but yeah, during COVID, I mean, we just saw our business take off. We had no idea, and it's because everybody went online, and so we were able to get in at the right time and, didn't even know that
Mhm.
at the time, but
Yeah, because
yeah.
everyone's kind of going into this lockdown of like, what's happening? Oh no, are our shelves empty? Like, what do we need? So people were. I mean, there was a bit of panic, but then there was also it
Right.
kind of morphed into boredom of like, what could I buy online? Because you almost got trained to think, I need more in case, or I need, or this is fun. Let's just go look for deals online. So I'm curious how that started with sharing the deals. Was it Facebook that you were focused on, or what was the development of sharing and building the business?
It was primarily Facebook. Yeah. Just we went wide. My brother just thought that that was the best suggestion for all of us to do. Um, just because Facebook algorithms are so tricky, and even if you had a million group, uh, they would only let 10,000 see. So why have one when you could have this many and each of them have 10,000? So we just started there. We just kind of went wide and we started just getting new people wherever we could in our different groups and on our pages. So yeah, so that's where we initially like started. And then we moved over to Instagram and we dabbled in a lot of things.
That's awesome. So you have these Facebook groups, you're starting to hunt for these deals. How do you set up the infrastructure of where you're not stepping on each other's toes, but or is it like, oh, someone found this great deal and now everyone shares? Or like, how did you navigate the organization of it? Because I mean, gosh, it's endless. Like, there's so much you can find online. And what do we share? And how do we know if it's a really
Mhm.
good deal or not? Like, how do you navigate that?
Honestly, and one of the best things is that, I mean, granted, we've been going through a flux of prices, right? But having done it so many years, you tend to know trends and know really what is a good price, what isn't a good price. And essentially, when we decided to form together, the biggest thing that we were looking for, like our biggest goal was structure. And we wanted to shoot from the moon in what we felt like was our way. We really like the influencer side of things. We really kind of wanted to try to connect with our people and so when we started into it, our goal was to have like real great structure where we had employees and we had them, we embraced, great training on what they needed to do so that they were also representatives of us. Because again, we really wanted to be our best selves so that when you knew Sassy Saves, you knew you were gonna get a good deal. So we're trying to like operate with integrity, and we always wanted to make people come and feel like they were in a safe shopping space. So we've always like been much more business sided as far as the way we set things up, and then as far as like in regards to shopping and knowing what to do, it's really been a lot of hands on learning like I said, just following those trends and knowing and recognizing prices and really doing your research. You can't say this is the best price if you don't know it's the best price. And um and there's always that element of like hurry quick because it can sell out. And we do tell people like, okay, you might want to hurry because that coupon can go at any time. The discount can disappear or it can sell out. And so we do try to, stay on top of those kinds of things all the time and just share them with our customer base. So
I
which
will
is
say, I'm curious because you've done both like the influencer side and the saving side. And I have friends in this space who it has, after years of doing it, they have burnt out from it, having done it for 10 plus years. And I would think because there is such a sense of urgency and I feel like people that are coupon saving shoppers or savvy shoppers, they will call you out. Like people are kind of intense. So
So true.
how do you keep yourself from like losing it or keeping that like, okay, but everything's okay? How do you keep that zen about you?
we all suffer from burnout.
You're like, we take turns.
We do. We really do. In fact, I think it's kind of funny because whenever Kathy's having a moment, she calls me and or my sister Sherry, and she was like, "That's it. I give up. Today we're done." And they're like, "No, we can do this." And we both threw each other up. And then it's my turn. And I'm like, "Okay, I quit. I don't want to do it anymore. You can't make me." And they're like, "It's okay. We've got this." And we have to push each other on for sure. It definitely burnout is real.
I think a way that we help our customers to feel comfortable with the things that we're posting is we just really stay aware of our comments and the deals. And so we'll go in there and comment if we post something and maybe we it's not a great deal, or and if somebody says something, then we'll go in and react to them and let them know, hey, thanks for letting us know, we'll find a better deal. Or if coupon codes don't work anymore and people are saying, this doesn't work anymore, then, we'll say things like, okay, we'll watch for another deal and then we'll tag you, if another deal comes available on this item. So we've really tried to do that. It's hard, but we do the best that we can, and just trying to be interactive with the customers and not just, buy yourself, buy yourself. Like we really care about them getting a good deal. And we even do, at Christmas time, we've done posts that say, "What are you looking for?" And our mom is really good at that. She'll go in to everybody's comment and she'll go look for it and find the best deal, and then she'll send them the link, to that product. And
Wow.
so, yeah, we really try to take care of our customers that way.
That's cool. Yeah, I'm curious with your experience of doing affiliate versus sponsored content versus like an affiliate for a company specific. I had someone reach out to me yesterday who said, so I built a report of my code being a certain thing. And then they reached out to me and said, oh, by the way, your code was linked. We're changing it. Now it's this. And there was no like question of my opinion about it or that I could do anything about it. Has that happened to you and how did you handle that?
Honestly, we're really picky, like excruciatingly picky about brands that we work with. I get offers daily. And a lot of them, I think it really comes down to, is it worth our time? Right. And we evaluate that. And then also, is it a right fit? Because um, we know it's not just about us, honestly. We know our customer base. We know who we're targeting, like who, what they're looking for. Having done this for 5 years, we know the people that have stuck around with us and who are, we get new shoppers all the time, right? But we know what they're looking for based off of our sales trends and things like that. And so I'm not going to promote an item that won't help them. So we try to be very picky about what we do. And then as far as in general about like it just being, specific to Sassy Saves. Well, our company is Sassy Saves. I feel like we are known by many names. And it's also because of how many groups we have and all the different platforms we're on. We're just we're just savers. We want to help everybody save that buck, get it at the best deal. And so I mean, it's really just we pick the ones that we work with, and then the ones we work with, they know what they're getting. And so we feel confident in the ones that we choose for that reason. But it's also honestly, you got to know your value. If you don't have your number in your mind, then it's not worth your time. And we know what our time is worth. And so we choose where we put our energy. And that's helped us with a lot of our success.
Yeah, yeah, that's really smart. I think, I mean, where you came in at such a poignant time of COVID, which is incredible because for a lot of us, that was a time where it's so interesting because now I've been interviewing people for 4.5 years and so many people took major pivots during that time during COVID. And this was a great business to start during that time. If someone were to start a Facebook group now of any kind, not just a money savings one, would you have tips for starting those groups? Like what would you suggest? And would you say make it private, make it public? What is the best way to grow on Facebook right now?
Don't go private. Don't do it.
Yeah. Don't go back.
That'll shoot you in your foot. And especially if you do any kind of affiliate, you cannot have private and be an affiliate. Those of us that were kind of during a weird period where Facebook was working through all of their admin assist, um, they allowed those of us that we kind of almost got shoved into going private in a lot of our groups. And because the admin assistant exists. And so it's understand, honestly, do your research on Facebook, understand what you're doing, how groups operate, and then take a course on Facebook marketing. That would be my biggest suggestion. Keep your group public, learn how Facebook works.
Do you have a course that you would suggest that people take? Was there one you took?
Oh no, we just did it hard and we figured out all the hard.
So you don't have one that you'd say, "Oh, this is a good one."
No, but there are a lot out there. So I know I wish I knew one, and maybe it's something we should be doing.
I was just thinking that you don't need another thing to do.
We have so many things that like all the directions we could be taking it, right? But yeah, I think that there are a lot of courses out there, and I mean, I think there's even a lot on like TikTok and stuff. But I do think that just understanding how like Facebook ads work or how groups operate or pages operate, and then you guys, you just gotta find your niche. You gotta find what you are and what you want, and then be consistent. If you are not consistent, if you don't treat it like a job, it won't be a job. It won't be a moneymaker.
What
That's
does that
what I think.
look like in term like, that's fantastic advice, and I would add to that, make sure if you do buy a Facebook course to buy one that is current because
Right.
anything with social media is ever changing. But I would love to know what that looks like for you with the consistency because we had a chat that where you have a team of people where you literally have someone assigned to an hour day and night. Like we're talking shifts through the night. How did you manage that going from a small team and then hiring employees to finding the right people and the time zones and what did that look like?
We are lucky my sister had a friend in the Philippines. That was awesome. So she kind of covered some of those red eye hours that suck. Let's be
Yeah.
honest.
Yeah.
But we have worked them ourselves. Everything that we've done, we did it ourselves, and we used to work. Um, each of us individually worked. I don't know, Kathy, we would just say like 5 or 6 hours a day minimum. It was a
Oh,
lot.
I mean, when I started clear back, I didn't stop working. I mean, I know that's not realistic, but um yeah, it was a lot. And so I feel like over time we've just said, okay, like we need help here. We need help here and just slowly, would get an hour here covered, an hour here covered, but we it used to be where we were covering so much of it, but then it was mostly see a need, fill a need, and, wait, fill a need, see a need, whatever.
He said it right. He
Yeah,
said it right.
okay, it didn't sound right the second time. Anyway, yeah, and um, so yeah, that's kinda how we got to this point of we're at a point where we're working less, doing different things because the things we used to do, we we realized that somebody else could do it and that we could pay somebody, that it was worth their time. Like, my best friend from high school works for us, and it's great for her. She lives in Idaho, and, we have a lot of family members that work for us. We have uncles and aunts and nieces and nephews and cousins and, in-laws. Sandy's in-laws work for us. And it's just a great way to help them and help us too. And it's just a lot of trial and error. Um, but yeah, it's been just a lot of figuring things out.
I think as far as skill goes, you have to master the skill yourself before you can teach it, right? We had to master the skill. And then it was still a lot of fine tuning, even when we brought on help and we had them, because while we could do our work and we could bring in this much, if we brought in somebody else who wasn't bringing in that or more, then we were losing money. So it was really understanding not just our value. Like our time was worth this much. We needed to make sure that we could have somebody come on. They maybe didn't bring in as much, but we could top it even more with something else we were doing, right? So it's kind of understanding um, just how a business structure works. So when we were hiring out these hours, which we do, like you said, we actually post from about 3 a.m. in the morning until 10, 11 o'clock at night every day. Because we know that we have customer bases all the way from Hawaii to New York. We even have some in other countries. So when we're looking at trying to make sure that we're posting what's currently happening and we're keeping up with, all the deals and everything that's coming in, we had to cross all the time zones. And so that wasn't it was just getting to a point where we were getting burned out like you talked about. And so we had to evaluate and we slowly pulled ourselves back and put ourselves on other things. Like I am the CFO. I do all the payroll, the scheduling, the onboarding. I manage like a lot of the employees. That's my primary focus a lot of times. And then we have, those of us that are online content and just different things. And so we are more now managing and we have the workers that are in there, but we've taught them, we've trained them, and we've got them to be representatives of that because they are now reaching what we were doing and then we're bringing in additional. So it's this business structure mindset. I don't know if that's helpful at all.
No,
I
that's
hope so.
amazing. Yeah. No, I think that's really cool. And I think another thing that's important to talk about is where Kathy, you're a mom of 7,
Mhm.
and where Sandy, you have 4 kids. And then your sister, how many kids does she have?
4.
4.
Yeah, she
And
has
then,
4.
so
Yep.
you have lots of kids. How did you
Mhm.
create boundaries around, like, because you're working from your phone a lot of the time, I would imagine. How do you create that boundary of, oh, I need to put the phone down? This isn't a fire that needs to go right now. Or maybe it does feel like that sometimes where you're like, no, this is a killer deal. Like this has a
Right.
huge margin. So that would be hard to like navigate that because it is timely, but your kids too. I mean, of course. So how do you navigate those boundaries for yourself, your family, and your kids?
Um, I think it's definitely been a challenge. I've been a single mom supporting my family financially for the last 5 years. And initially, um, yeah, I did, just kind of have to decide. I know I'm building something. I know this isn't going to be forever. I'm going to do the best that I can, but I know I have to put a lot of hours into this. And I know that, my kids suffered but I was still there with them. I mean, I've played games with my daughter while picking up my phone, posting a deal, moving the game piece, and sitting in the carpool lane. I'm on my phone working. But also we've looked into those things, and a lot of times we've just gotten up really early and taken those shifts. Like we've taken the 4 o'clock shift before. And so, if we can get those hours out of the way while our kids are asleep or at nighttime, it's just, we've just tried to find the balance. But we always talk about keeping that in check too. If there's a point where we're just working too much, this isn't okay, then, we fix it. And it's just a matter of keeping that in check. Like we have to be, and we cover for each other too. If there's birthday parties or, we have our scheduled hours. But then, um, I just took off to Disneyland with my older kids 2 weeks ago, and my sister stepped in and they covered for me. So yeah, we did.
Extreme FOMO. We're like,
But I still woke up, I still did a 7 o'clock shift there, and so, I was able to do an hour before, and then as I'm standing in lines, I'm still helping and working, and but then balancing, but it's definitely been a challenge because, yeah, like you say, it is hard because you don't want your kids to look back and say, "Mom was just always on her phone," you know? And so we all just really try to keep that in mind that we don't want our kids to say that. So,
Communicate a lot with each other, like almost like mental health check-ins. Like, hey, how are we doing? Like, what's going on? Our schedule isn't set; it's weekly. We are always adapting and always changing, and it's really just to keep making sure that we can also operate as wives and mothers. Well, some of us wives, some of us more mother. Uh, Um, but we're making sure that we're still able to meet our needs, like emotionally as well as physically. Like it's our priorities. Like I tell them, I need my hour to work out. I have to have this hour. That's super important to me and my anxiety and things like that I deal with. And so we try to support each other where we can. But then there are also times where we just know and our families know like, work kinda comes first. Like anybody with their job, right? You have to take a work comes first. You have work hours, work comes first. Well, for us, come September, October, November, December, those are especially when we're talking like Cyber Monday, Black Friday, the Christmas sale, our families understand that that is a huge part of our business and give us a lot of grace. But they also keep us in check. Like Kathy was talking about, they'll call us out like, hey, I saw you on a phone call for 3 hours yesterday. Maybe you should get off your phone. We recognize and we understand and then we communicate that. We talk weekly or, every a few days just to keep checking in and make sure that we're all doing well and that we're all maintaining. Because if we're not, then everything suffers. And so we bolster each other up, but we also help each other balance it because it is a balance. And we have like I talk with my husband and he knows that I give the evenings to him. My sisters know that I've set that boundary. And so they cover the like Kathy even said, she's like, I knew you couldn't talk last night. I called Sherry. I'm like, great. So we set those boundaries and we work within them.
Yeah, that's
That's
really
important.
impressive. And I think what's important too that you made note of is that communication with your family and your kids that they know that I'm not just scrolling for fun. Like this is work and this is how we have food and a home and this is how things work. So one thing that I always bring front of mind is that kids have always seen their parents working hard and especially their mothers inside and outside of the home. And these devices in our hands now can be misleading sometimes where it may seem like we're just, shooting the breeze, but especially with the job you're doing, you are working a lot. And I think that they understand that with how much you guys are talking about it and supporting each other and checking in. Do you have a formal check-in once a week as a family, or is it just you're always talking, so that's unnecessary?
All of our kids are in school. So we used to do like formal check-ins every Monday and then and then just intermittent whenever, we needed to talk one-on-one with each other, we just reach out. I think that like we've done away with less just formal ones and more as needed when we need to all get together. Like maybe it's sometime within a week, but we are probably talking at least a week. But no, we will just all of a sudden just get on like, hey, let's check in who's doing what today and making sure that we're getting all of our like our priorities checked off so that we're making sure that nothing's getting missed.
Hey, my friends, just popping in here really quick to say if you are drowning in a to-do list but never actually getting anything done, I hear you. This is the time to take back control of your day. And I've created a product for you for free that will help you to do this. It's called the Ultimate Time Audit and Productivity System. It is a free resource to help you pinpoint exactly where your time is going and what you should be delegating. My coaching involves a lot of time spent with business owners who are losing time, valuable time, on menial tasks that they could either delegate or create a system around, but first needing to understand how their time is being used. So imagine having more time for your family, your business, and yourself without the constant overwhelm. You can grab your free copy in the link below or at camillewalker.co and start working smarter, not harder. camillewalker.co is the website, but go ahead and grab that link below. And I would love to help you take back your time right now. That's awesome. In terms of affiliate sales for people, I mean, it's a big, I see people sharing a lot, where they'll say, I went from making nothing to now I'm a multimillionaire doing affiliate sales. You see those all the time. I do on Reels and things like
Mhm.
that. If you were to give someone advice who's interested in doing more affiliate type of work, what would be advice that you'd give to them right now?
I think I think the number one thing is consistency, and I think that applies to almost every single business. I mean, there hasn't for 5 years, there hasn't been one day that we went without a deal being posted, at least one deal, but, consistency for sure is the number one thing. As far as affiliate marketing, just find out what interests you. We've always been super savvy. Our mom was like coupon savvy. And so it just really fit for us, just finding a good deal. So, because with affiliate marketing, you can market the sky is the limit. And so, find something that resonates with you and so that you have a passion behind it and then you can share that passion. Um, Yeah, consistency, education, and yeah, just finding something you that you're passionate about.
I think
Yeah.
there's also a lot of scam artists out there that are trying to trick people.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And it is hard because, I think it's part of our affiliate rules that you're actually not supposed to talk about what you make or like what your promotion sells, things like that. You could get in trouble for it. And so um, I just people just don't understand the hours that go behind the paycheck. And there's a real sense of just falsehood behind a lot of the misleading. And yeah, I just think you've got to be wary about who you can and can't trust. Which I know now I'm like, we should do a course because we are trustworthy, and help educate people. uh, it's not to say it can't be done, but I do think that while yes, it's taken us 5 years to have $1 million company, we weren't that for many years. And I do think that there is a momentum point where you start to build momentum and then things start to progress a lot quicker. But we went through the trenches. I mean, we had a month where we were like, woohoo, we each made $300 and we felt like winners. We're like, sweet. And then the month when we finally each hit $1,000, that was incredible too. And we just celebrated each milestone and we just kept at it. And again, that consistency, that persistence, and then honestly, just knowing what you want out of it and what you're willing to do for it. There is a level of investment, whether it be your time, your money. You just got to treat it like any other job. What do you want from it? So we figured out what we wanted and we worked hard for it.
I love that. I do have a question about you mentioned Facebook ads briefly. Is
Yeah.
that something that as you grew, you have used Facebook ads to promote your affiliate sales?
We promoted like we promoted items, we promoted groups, we promoted pages. We dabbled in all the different ways, but I can 100% say that across there are so many ways out there to do it, but meta advertising, TikTok advertising, Google ads, whatnot. There is a reason why they are. There are a lot of people that are using them, and it's for a good reason. But there's a learning curve, and there's a lot of information out there. So I myself am still constantly learning about the best way to learn and use meta ads, the best way to learn to to just use our money in the best way for us. So, is it important? 100%. Do your research, learn about it, and apply it. But again, with ads comes a level of investment. You have to be willing to take that risk. Like my brother always tells us, you have to risk it for the biscuit.
Yeah.
And so we we sometimes are a little bit more reserved in our risking and we wait for like the right time of season. We'll risk more during like Christmas time and everything. But
Mm.
yes, advertising is 100% key to any success on in an internet world.
Right.
How else are you going to get? It's so hard to just naturally become viral. It
Right.
really is.
The thing
Like,
that I always say, the thing that I've always said is at the end of the day, Facebook is a business. We look at it as just, oh, a fun place for everybody to meet. Yeah, no, it's not. It's a business. Instagram is a business. TikTok is a business. And so if you're not paying the business, then
you're not getting
yeah,
paid.
they say it's a free platform. It is not a free platform. So you got to give them the money to be seen.
That's so
Yeah.
true. That is so true.
But
Yeah.
and then my last caveat is that, and I know this because I've played with ads so much, is it's not just necessarily throwing more ads at
That's
them or
true.
throwing more money at them. You need to know what you're doing. You need to know
Right.
what is good and what is bad. And so, like I said, I don't think I could teach a course on it, that's for sure. But I do think that there are some great courses out there that you can take to learn more about using those ads and knowing what you're looking for in your analytics and on your ROIs and all of that. So
Yeah.
it's there.
Oh,
You
well,
just
this
gotta
is
learn.
all such helpful advice. I feel like this is one of those fields that there's always more to learn. And there, especially where you have made it such an awesome team and infrastructure. I would say for some of my friends that have burnt out, that was the piece that was missing, that they didn't have people that they could lean on and check in on, especially with the mental health and, hey, are you getting that time you need? And what about that trip you have coming up? And then the family really was sacrificing a lot of that special
Yeah.
time because they didn't have that infrastructure that you do, which is awesome. I'm just so happy for you all that you can work together as a family and as a team. That is so impressive. It really is.
But
So, with wrapping up, I'm going, you guys, this is dangerous. I was looking at your Instagram stories a couple days ago and you were sharing like, Easter basket fillers and all of these really fun things. I wanted to buy everything I saw, basically. So follow them only if you're ready. No, I'm just kidding. It's good because you'll save money, but
true.
you'll want to spend money. One thing I
Right.
noticed that you did on stories is that you did a strike through of the brand name. Is
Mm.
that because that's Amazon's rule? Or is it because you couldn't use their photo unless you like modified it? Or what was the reasoning for that?
Copyright. You got to be
Okay.
careful. So if somebody
Yeah.
else's photo, and if it's on Amazon, Amazon's generally fine with it. That's not the issue. It's if somebody else actually steals the image and then they try to sell it secondhand. Like they've bought it and now they're trying to resell it, and they use the original owner's image. Does that make sense?
It does. Yes,
So
because I've done blogging for years and
right.
that's a thing. Yeah.
So we just try to be very careful with our imaging. Just most of the time, when we're putting something up, we can feel pretty confident that this is obviously an original seller. We're promoting this is exactly who we're promoting it for. Like when we worked with Under Armour, we could use their images. When we work with Amazon in certain aspects, they give us images that we can use. But when you're gonna put a picture of something up, we just try to edit it ourselves a little bit and make it our own. You see that happening a lot with a lot of social media influencers. They'll tweak the image, they'll use Canva or whatever
Mm,
to make it their own.
yeah.
That may not even guarantee you that you're safe, but one
Right.
safe bet is always just cross out the brand. It's
Mm.
not because we're trying to be sneaky. It's just
No, I
because
know.
we're just
And I know
yeah.
enough about it that I'm like, oh, that's so that there isn't an
Mhm.
issue with legal copyright issues. And I know that
Right.
because from the early years of blogging in 2011, when I started, I had a partner who would use images she found online because it was the Wild West. Like no one cared, no one did. And
Right.
then literally a decade later, I got sued for image usage because it was someone's image and there are bots now that can go and scrape
Right.
websites for images that were used without permission. So I know
Yeah.
about that. So I'm like, oh, that's interesting that even on stories you would strike out the brand name, which was a good little tip I thought to share.
Yeah. That is very handy.
Well,
Yeah,
Good
very
we
cool.
call.
just right. We just like to cover all our bases because like we've said, we've been through the school of hard knocks and we've been flagged for so many things. And so it gets to a point where you're like, hey, we have to reassess and we have to it says why we got flagged, and sometimes you don't even know. So
Mm.
you take all the parameters, you take out all the prices because, maybe it's the dollar sign and so we've just tried lots of different things, but mostly we're just trying to cover our bases to not get flagged, not to get shut down, not get our groups taken away, not get copyright issues, because then it just makes a lot of problems. So, yeah.
Gives us gray hairs.
And gray hairs.
Seriously.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So
Okay, well,
true.
before we wrap up, I would love to hear if what is a lesson that you've learned maybe from doing it the wrong way? It sounds like we might have just tapped into that a little bit, but do you have another like story or advice that you would give of like, oh, we learned the hard way that way?
Which one do we pick? we have we have so many things that we honestly, okay, and here's my 2 cents on this is that you're gonna do it the hard way.
Hmm.
Okay. I know they say work smarter, not harder. And we say we work harder, not smarter until we learn. We just constantly do something and we do it a long time. In fact, this is probably my funniest one is that my mom was given like great deals every day. Somebody was sending her great deals and she's like, wow, this is awesome. And it was an Amazon seller, and they were just like, "Great, this woman's willing to promote these deals." And we weren't really selling them, but my mom was promoting them, and I don't know, it was a whole thing. We learned afterwards that there are other people out there that were actually getting paid from Amazon sellers for a long time to promote these deals, and my mom was just doing it for free.
Mm.
And we laugh about it afterwards. We're like, that's how we work. Sometimes we work for free before we learn, hey, maybe we should charge $1. And it's okay to have those moments. You can't let them knock you down. You just got to learn from it. And then, because I feel like there's so many things that we have done, like going private, right? We were private in all of our groups. And all of a sudden, we were talking with our other siblings, and they're like, why don't you have a public group? Well, we finally got a public group, and we worked with public groups. We had 2 deals go viral. And we're like, why didn't we do this sooner? It's those kind of moments. We're like, hey, well, now we know. We'll just keep trying and see if we can do it again. So,
Yeah,
a lot of
that's good
that.
advice. That is good advice. And then figuring out how much to charge and all of that.
Mhm.
That's a big
Honestly,
piece of
that's
it
the
too.
hardest thing.
Yeah.
For everybody to figure out their number, their value, that I would say in and itself is one of the hardest things to figure out.
I
I
think, oh, sorry, go
Yeah,
ahead.
go ahead. Yeah, I was like, I don't know.
I was just gonna add, touching on the family side of it, um, I mean, we don't want to make it look like it's been all sunshine and rainbows
Hmm.
because it hasn't. And like I said, we broke off and we worked with who we could work with. Um, and I think you have to go into it with that open mind of there's a lot of different personalities here. At one point, all 7 of us siblings were doing this job. We weren't
Wow.
doing it all together. We were doing it, in different groups. And you have to, at the end of the day, decide, is my relationship with my sibling or my family member more important to me than money? And what does that look like? And then you have to figure out what that looks like. And it's really hard to take the emotion out of it because being siblings, it's all about emotion. And so, I mean, that's literally been 5 years in the making, and we still struggle there, because we have other family members doing the same thing, and they might be more successful, and it's hard, to see that. But at the end of the day, you just got to decide, well, I still love them. I want to have a relationship with them. I'm not going to make this personal, and I'm not going to be jealous, or, I'm going to be okay with what I'm doing, and set boundaries. Actually, that's the biggest thing, has been boundaries for us, setting boundaries of, we can go on a big family vacation. We don't talk business, we talk business with who we're working with, but we don't talk about it with who we're not working with. So, yeah,
It's been
That's good advice.
it's been a journey for us, that's for sure.
Yeah. Oh,
right.
for sure. That there's no way you could do something like this and not have it be a bit messy, where you just have to
Yeah.
figure it out as you go.
Right.
Well, this has been so awesome. So there are two questions that I ask all of my guests, and you'll each have a chance to share. But I love to ask, what are you reading, watching, or listening to? That's the first. And you can share one of each or just one of the three. And then the second is a motherhood moment that you would like to share. And whoever's ready first. Kathy, if you want
Are
to, or Sandy.
are you ready, Sandy?
You go. I'm
Oh,
thinking.
wow. Okay. Reading,
I
watching,
Or
or
listening to.
listening to right
you always
now.
have good podcasts that you're listening to. Oh
Yeah,
wait, no, you have funny ones.
no, I listen to a lot of podcasts. As far as right now, I'm actually I'm reading the New Testament. I don't know. It
Hmm.
just um for some reason Easter's coming and I just started reading the New Testament. Other things I read a lot of, so on my Facebook I'm just following a lot of inspirational quotes or like groups. And so I actually will scroll on my Facebook and read a lot of just motivating, uplifting, inspirational quotes, and I usually screenshot them. Sometimes I share and pass them on, but I would say I read those a lot. Just they really help me. Um, and then a mom moment. Oh, Sandy, maybe go on what you're. I'm going to think about my mom moment. Sandy reads a lot of fiction.
Yeah, way to call me out, man.
That's
Sorry.
okay. It's
Yes,
funny. A lot of women I interview, they'll listen to self-help books and business books or whatever, but they're like, I escape in my reading, so it's fiction. Like
that's what I was gonna
yeah,
say. Yeah.
yep.
So it was funny too. In the car, I guess this could be even part of my mom moment. I was waiting for my son at pickup, and so on the way to pickup, I was listening to a book, and it was on my screen in my car. And then while I was sitting there, I had my Kindle out, so I was reading a book, and he gets in, he's like, "Wait, were you reading a book and then listening to a book?" And I was like, "Well, that was and he just looked at me like, and so he didn't really respond. And then my other son got in the car. He's like, "Zach, guess what mom was doing? She was listening to a book and then reading a book. Like that was unfathomable." But yes, those are my escape moments. I live in my car a lot because I have 4 kids. I'm constantly running,
Mhm.
little munchkins around. But currently I am not very good at titles, but I do read a lot of like romantasy, and then I also love like British romance books.
Mm,
I love them. I mean, give
Regency,
me
yeah.
Regency. I love them so much. I mean, and they're always just so easy, and they're little fluff reads, and I just love them.
Yeah. I love it.
So
Awesome. Now, when you were
I
reading
read
and
a lot.
listening, it's the same book, right?
No,
They're
I have
different?
one book I was listening to, and then when my kids are about to get in the car, I'll get my Kindle out while I'm sitting, and
Oh,
I
so
can read a different book on my Kindle. Oh, and that was really good. The Secret Life of Addie LaRue. I'm really enjoying it.
okay.
Um, that one's really, oh, it's so fascinating. That was a good, oh my gosh, I could have a whole podcast on all the books that I've read. Last year, I read like 115 books, so I do love to read.
That's awesome. That's awesome. All right, Kathy, did you think of your motherhood
Um,
moment?
yeah, maybe. Well, I mean, is there more to it? Like, does
Just it could be like
business or just
no, no, no.
anything?
It could be like a heartfelt moment, a funny moment, a teaching moment, a silly. It doesn't, it's whatever you want to share.
Okay. I think I'm gonna go to this Disneyland trip that I just went on because my little kids stayed at home. My mom and dad watched them, and I've never done that before, a vacation without like bathroom breaks and I they
Mm.
just have always taken my little kids and I still have three at home, but the four older ones planned an adult Disney trip, which I wasn't gonna go on, and my daughter said to me, "Mom, I was thinking," and this was right before the trip happened. So I hadn't even planned it or anything. Like they had gotten their flights. Anyway, she's like, "Mom, I was thinking about it, and it's just not going to be the same at Disneyland without you."
Oh,
And so, that kind of hit me right here. And I'm like, okay, this is an opportunity for me to spend time with my older kids when I'm constantly spending time with my younger kids, because I have a married son and one grandson, and then I have two out of the house, and then my 17-year-old that will be. Anyway,
Wow.
so my mom moment, I would say, is just being able to spend those 4 days at Disneyland with them and just making it about them. And just, we were goofy and funny and it wasn't about riding every ride. It was just making memories. And so, yeah, I'm glad I was able to do that and that I just did it. It's not like me. I thought about all the things at home and that were going to go wrong, which they didn't. And my little kids were fine. I have a 5-year-old and then I have a 20, well, she's almost 6 and 26, so 20 years between them. So,
Wow. So yeah,
yeah.
this was a huge deal to go and be with your adult kids, and that's a totally different
Yeah.
kind of trip. That's
It
incredible.
was. Yeah, it was. And I didn't really know, but now I'm like, wow, I'm so glad I did that. So
Oh,
glad.
me
So,
too. That's
I will
yeah.
awesome.
say, I did have I feel like this would be a good thing to share, at least here on this platform. My mom moment that, I mean, if I could, kind of piggyback off of that other one. But here's the thing: my daughter just recently competed in a optimism competition where um, you had to write a story, a short story based off of your life, and and then you had to like read it. And at the very end, they announced in no particular order those that were runner up and then the top three. And my daughter was the first name called as runner up. And I knew in her mind it just meant that she was the worst, which was absolutely not true. She could have been fourth place. She didn't know. But she got in the car afterwards and she just broke down. Like, I am a failure, mom. I'm a failure. And I said, why do you say you're a failure? And she was telling me how she's like, how can you ever really feel like you've made it in life if you don't have one thing that you are incredible at, that you have just mastered and that you're the best? And she rattled off all these kids in her school that she knew was like the fastest runner, the best dancer, the most popular, and like all these different like things that she had determined are what really help you make it as a person. And so it was really hard to hear that as a mom because I view her as just nothing more than incredible. She works so hard at so many things, and I know I'm so proud of her. So we got to where we were going. As I parked the car, and this is what I told her. And I said, Courtney, I said, am I a failure? And she's like, no. And I said, let me tell you something. I barely graduated. I wasn't a good student. I am a cosmetologist, but I am not the top of my field by a long shot. I got my associate's degree, and that was a real struggle for me. I barely struggled to get through that. I have yet to have a career that I wanted in my life. Granted, I've done this other thing and it's gone moderately successful, but am I even the top in that field? I can like, and I just rattled off all the ways that you could probably view me and think I'm a failure. I was like, Courtney, but you know what I am? I am a wife. I am a mother. I am a friend. I am a boss. I'm a peer. I am like all these things. And while I'm still struggling to be the best in all those ways, I'm learning and I'm growing and I'm working hard. And at the end of the day, I feel good about that. And that's what you have to do. You have to choose what you love and work hard at the things you love. And if they don't bring you joy, then those are the things you let go. And it was such a great emotional moment for both of us. For her to see, she doesn't see me as a failure, and I don't see her as a failure. And it was a real breakthrough for honestly for us. So it was a really great mom moment recently that we had. And I'm not gonna let her watch this podcast because then she'll totally kill me for talking about it. But I think it's just something that honestly a lot of us will do to ourselves. We as women will beat ourselves up till we are black and blue. But at the end of the day, we have to remember, look at what we've accomplished. How often do we stop and look back and say, wow, how did I get here? Look what I overcame. And so that's what I was teaching her. I'm like, look at what you've overcome and how much you've already grown. You have so much more yet to come. So.
Hmm. Oh, I love both of those. You're both such amazing moms. This has been so, so wonderful. Such a wonderful interview. Thank you for sharing your hearts. Thank you for sharing your story and your journey, and that you're still in the middle of it and figuring things out. And I would love for our audience to know where they can find you online and find your great deals and how to connect with you.
On Instagram, we're at Sassy Saves. And on Facebook, I could send you to a million groups, but I will tell you, you probably, this is the silliest one, but you can find us. We're Good Golly. Is it Good Golly Black Friday or is it Good Golly Savings? I can't even remember, Sassy. It's Good Golly, and
We've
we have
changed.
100 and we change the names sometimes. We tweak them. Anyways, we're Good Golly, and then there's 180,000 members in that one, so you'll know it's
Wow.
us.
Or
Because
yeah,
or there's freaking insane deals.
freaking insane deals. Yeah, that
Okay,
one
cool. Well,
is a
send
little
me
bit
Yeah.
those
easier.
links. Yeah, we'll put
Okay,
those in the
yeah.
show notes. I'm sure there's
Yeah.
someone listening that's like, I want freaking insane, good golly, great deals.
Yeah.
Like, yes, give me
You
all of
will.
them.
You will. And we will help you save. We promise.
Yeah,
So,
Yeah.
to a dangerous degree. Okay, perfect. Well, thank you so much for being on the show. I appreciate it so much. And thank you to everyone who's listening and sharing the show. Anytime you leave a rating review, you share, it helps this little corner of mothers building amazing businesses grow. So thank you so much for your support and thank you for being here. Hey, CEOs, thank you so much for spending your time with me. If you found this episode inspiring or helpful, please let me know in a comment and a 5-star review. You could have the chance of being a featured review on an upcoming episode. Continue the conversation on Instagram at Call Me CEO Podcast. And remember, you are the boss.